Welcome to Perdido Key. In this video, we're going to break down the good and the bad, the pros and the cons of what it's like to live or vacation right here. Let's get straight into it, and we're going to cover the #1 pro about living or visiting in Perdido Key, and that's hands down, it's going to be the beach. That's why everyone comes here. It's a beach town. We have some of the best beaches in the country, definitely in Florida, and it's a part of the Emerald Coast. It's coined that because the waters are beautiful, they're stunning. That section kind of spans from about Panama City all the way to Destin and Pensacola Beach, Orange Beach, Gulf Shores, Perdido Key. So it's kind of a little bit of a range, but Perdido Key is its own individual beach. A lot more laid back, very beautiful. And you have all the fun things that come with the beach, right? So whether it's family activities, you just want to build sand castles, put your toes in the sand, enjoy a margarita, listen to the waves, or you want to do maybe more extreme things. You want to do boating and you want to do paddleboarding, kayaking, there's fishing, there's boating. So everything that comes with the beach is absolutely here. And the waters are beautiful. One of the best beaches, hands down, Perdido Key. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and bundle these two together, and that's just gonna be the outdoor activities and lifestyle, as well as nature and the scenic beauty here. So if you find yourself, you're kind of a wildlife enthusiast, maybe you enjoy birding and all the species and kind of, going out with your binoculars and seeing that kind of thing, you'll definitely find that here. We also have dolphins. You can absolutely catch dolphins, whether you're on a boat or even sometimes just on the beach, you'll definitely see them. We've got sea turtles. You may not see those on your trip here, but they're absolutely here. And Perdido Key is pretty neat about preserving that. They have a minimal footprint here. They're pretty strict on building and regulations, but they also, you have to have a certain bulb luminescence on all the condos here and homes, and that's to prevent the sea turtles from coming towards those in the same way that they follow the moon. I think that's pretty neat. You won't necessarily find that on all beach destinations around here, but again, if you like wildlife, it's definitely here. And if you like the outdoors, that's also here. Everything we mentioned about the beach, of course, kayaking, paddleboarding, boating, fishing, you name it, that's here. But we also have hiking trails. Big Lagoon State Park is a pretty awesome park here with miles and miles of trails. And we also have the Lost Key Golf Course. It's a public golf course, so that's something you can enjoy as well while you're here. But Perdido Key is a great place to just kind of relax, get outdoors, enjoy nature, enjoy the wildlife right here. So another major pro about Perdido Key, and it's probably why most people choose to either live or vacation here, is because it's less populated than some of the close by beaches. A big part of that is because it's not incredibly developed. There are high rises and things like that, and don't get me wrong, and it does get busy in the summers, but it doesn't have putt-putt golf and go-karts and water slides and theme parks and everything like that. It's a lot more laid back, a lot more family-friendly, family-oriented type of place. So if you're just coming here to relax, enjoy the beautiful, stunning beaches, maybe get outdoors, then Perdido Key is for you. But it's much less populated than some of the surrounding areas. And the secret's out, it's definitely getting more busy every year, but it's still a bargain when you compare it to some of those places. All right, so another major pro about Perdido Key would have to be that there is somewhat affordable housing. And I say that relatively. Obviously, this is a beach town. So if you want to live somewhere that's absolutely stunning on the Gulf Coast, right here in the Sunshine State of Florida, well, Perdido Key is actually a bargain compared to a lot of other beach towns. If you're thinking about buying a home, whether it's personal or you're looking for a vacation/investment property, you can find a Gulf front condo starting in the high 300s and in the low 400s. That is becoming harder and harder to find. And of course, it's probably gonna be maybe a 1-bedroom, but that is realistic. And you can also buy a single family home here. There's pros and cons to both, but if you're comparing this market to other markets, Perdido Key is absolutely affordable, and it's kind of a more laid back environment here. A lot of that has to do with the fact that it's not quite as touristy, it's not quite as developed as some of the places like, say, Destin or other surrounding beaches. But absolutely some affordable housing here in Perdido Key. All right, so I'm gonna throw in another little bonus, and that's just gonna be the location. You are right next to Pensacola, Florida. You can go over there and kind of enjoy the community aspect for the day. There's a lot more things to do, downtown, parades, restaurants, etc. And you can also step over into Orange Beach, Gulf Shores for the day. And again, there's more restaurants, a lot more touristy activities. You've got arcades, kind of water parks, etc., shopping maybe. And then of course you have to check out Floribama. It's kind of the famous bar right on the state line. Every once in a while there is a famous country singer maybe plays there from time to time. Always live music. So that's more of kind of a nightlife or a place to go party, cut loose, have drinks, etc. And it's right on the beach as well. And they have the annual mullet toss as well once a year, where they literally throw mullets on the beach. It's quite an event. A lot of people show up. It's kind of fun. But yeah, the location in Perdido Key, even though it's more quiet, laid back, it's right in the middle. You're not too far away from a few extracurricular activities and places to visit just for the day. So I know that I mentioned that it can be a lot less crowded, a lot less populated here in Perdido Key, but a big con is that in the summers, it does get busy still. And that's relative, because if you're comparing that to any beach in Florida, it's probably gonna be a lot less populated. But nonetheless, it does get busy here. It's kind of a long strip, and there is one lane one way and one lane the other way. So traffic can get a bit busy as well. It's just something you want to keep in mind. The summer months here get very busy, but there's nowhere in Florida that's a beach town that doesn't get busy. And I would say it gets a lot less busy than anywhere else you compare it to, like Destin or even Orange Beach, for example. But yeah, just keep that in mind. That's kind of a con. In the summers, it does get busy. All right, so one of the drawbacks or cons of Perdido Key is that there's not gonna be quite as much to do as some of those other surrounding beaches. And that's one of the reasons it's more laid back, a little more relaxing, less touristy, less crowded, but you're not gonna have outlet malls and shopping like in Destin per se. And you may have kind of somewhat limited restaurants as well. There's plenty of places to eat though. The crab trap's great. The jellyfish sushi is another good one. You can eat at Floribama, just to name a few. And also Hub Stacy's at the Point, another cool one you gotta check out, kind of a local spot. But just not quite as many things to do. If you're looking for all that extra stuff to do with kids, like water parks, putt-putt golf, go-karts, you will not find that here. But you could find it in Orange Beach or over in Pensacola Beach, which is not too far away, easily a day trip. All right, so another kind of con, I guess I would say, or drawback is just that there's not really much of a community aspect. And that's because it's a beach town. In fact, I think a lot of people that come here, whether you're on vacation or live here, are probably trying to get away from people. But there's a lot of tourists, a lot of people coming and going, so you don't have that same community aspect that you might in a big city where there's primarily residents and obviously schools and families. So there's tons of families here, don't get me wrong, but they're usually on vacation. So if you're looking for community, you might not find a lot of that here, but you could go over to Pensacola Beach for the day, or just Pensacola, the town, city. It's only about 30 to 40 minutes away, and partake in some of those community aspects. But you won't find a lot of that in Perdido Key. So one more con to kind of consider is obviously storms and hurricanes. And of course this applies to all of Florida, not just Perdido Key. And if you're visiting, I would say it's probably not necessarily as much of a concern unless you've booked your trip months in advance, but they don't happen that often. So I wouldn't really worry too much about that. But if you own a beach home here or a condo, it is something that you're just always aware of. And that's why you want to have good home insurance. If you own a condo, you're actually going to be covered under the master insurance policy. So it's a little bit less peace of mind. You don't have to have your own individual home insurance. But yeah, it's just something that is always top of mind in Florida, as well as Perdido Key, storms and hurricanes. My name's Levi Fortner. I'm with LPT Realty, and I run the Fortner Group right here on the Emerald Coast. If you're thinking about moving here or thinking about buying an investment or vacation home, give us a call, give us a text, give us an email. We'd love to help you. It's kind of our specialty here on the coast. And if you enjoyed this content, if you want to stay up to date with everything eat, sleep, play, real estate on the Gulf Coast of Florida, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and I'll see you guys soon.